Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our Monday Night Wars What If series in TW 2020. I, of course, am CR Daredevil, as you already know by now. And, yeah, this episode is going to be interesting. Slight break from the content. I got the tooth that has been bothering me for a little while removed, a few days ago. I'm recording this on Monday night, so you're going to be seeing this video. Well, if you see it when it first comes out, you're going to be seeing this video literally minutes after I record it. I am recording this Monday night because the tooth is finally kind of calmed down enough for me to be able to record. I got the tooth pulled out, and it has been a bit of a struggle for the last few days, which is why you haven't seen any episodes of TNA on the channel, because it's been a little harder. It's been kind of hard to record anything the last few days, but I'm getting this done because I wanted to stick to the schedule, and I have a little bit of a break so I can get it done tomorrow. Depending on how my whole mouth is doing, I will do my best to try to get at least a couple episodes of TNA recorded, so that if I do have any flare-ups in the near future, I'll at least have a second episode to kind of back it up. But I'm hoping to get 2 episodes of the TNA series out this week. We'll have to see for sure, but appreciate those who are sticking around and watching any and all content that I produce, that is, and hopefully kind of streamlining things a little bit better to potentially do a non-TW series on the channel here soon. We'll have to kind of wait and see how that ends up playing out. But you're not here for that. You are here for the video itself. Well, the content, that is. So we are a few weeks out from Clash of Champions, as we have to find out what happened, or what the fallout is for last week. Of course, we ended Nitro last week with the Steiner brothers and Steve Austin brawling with the 4 Horsemen after some issues that have come out between those two sides. We also had Sting issuing his open challenge for anybody and everybody who wants to have a shot at the world title. We had Diamond Dallas Page come out with the United States Championship, despite him not actually holding the belt, or actually officially being in possession of the belt, and claiming that he was going to issue an open challenge. And we've got a whole lot more that we got to see what the fallout is for. So we're going to start things off this week with going back to something that I noticed I was kind of skipping over in recent episodes. We're going to show you what happened on Saturday night, because there was a little bit of stuff that I did say that Saturday night's going to start being more of a B show and less of a show featuring Nitro stuff on it. And then I kind of changed my mind a little bit. It's still going to be kind of a B show, but it's not going to be as much of a ignore it based off of Nitro stuff as I had originally planned. So as you see the show happening here, we had a kind of important angle in which we got a video package to start off the show, not the pre-show match, but the angle itself that started off the show, that I don't know if I can click on that or not. I can click on that. That featured the debut of somebody. This figure came out. Well, this figure pulled up to the arena in a limo, and out came this guy. This obnoxious-looking guy with a ponytail on top of his head and a blonde beard and all that. And then he had a second limo follow up afterwards, and the second limo apparently had all of his money in it. So whoever this guy is, he's clearly obnoxious. He didn't say a word in this video, but he's clearly obnoxious and clearly supposedly really rich, I guess. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, there's this guy making his WCW debut. So spoiler alert, obviously, Chris Jericho is in WCW. So I brought him in with full-on intentions on debuting him in the World War III Battle Royal. Well, not the Battle Royal, sorry. The World War III Battle Bowl. I had full intentions in debuting him in that. Then he got injured right before. So he hasn't actually been able to wrestle at all. In fact, he still has a few more weeks before he can actually wrestle. So I figured, well, he's going to be playing an obnoxious heel character right off the bat. I'm going to start doing some debut promos for him. So he's going to have some debut segments, basically just being super obnoxious, doing stuff like this. That's going to build up to, start to build up to his debut in WCW. So Jericho's going to be in WCW. We're going to have to see how it plays out with him. We did get that American Mills Barrio Brothers match finally, and the Mills did defeat the Barrio Brothers. We had a couple things for Nitro, including the Windhams having a promo. Bam Bam Bigelow wasn't in the promo. He was considered off screen in this. But Bam Bam Bigelow, or not I got Bam Bam Bigelow in mind. The Windhams had a promo talking about what happened on this past Monday night on Nitro, and Barry made a challenge to Vader for a match on Nitro this week. So Barry Windham versus Nitro is announced for this week's show. We had Bull Nakano defeat Jacqueline. We had a recap of the main event thing that I just told you. Meng defeated the Renegade. Bubba Rogers actually talked about Sting on Saturday night. Kind of talked about how he's been around the wrestling business for it was actually kind of a decent promo. He actually kind of talks about how he's been in the wrestling business for quite some time, and he's always been seen as a big star and used as a big star because he is a big star, but he's never really been given a whole lot of world title matches. And so if he's hearing Sting right and hearing Sting is just wanting to open up challenges to anybody, that he would gladly accept any challenge that Sting might be throwing out there. So Rogers kind of with a little bit, he is a heel character, he is a bully character, but he kind of broke the fourth wall a little bit and was kind of talking about how he hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities in the past, but maybe he's going to try to get one this time. So it's kind of an interesting little promo that happened there. And then the main event was kind of randomly thrown together main event where Conan and Dusty Rhodes defeated Terry Richards and John Tenta. It was really a thrown together main event. There wasn't really a whole lot of story behind it. But yeah, that was Saturday night. It got a 58 rating. Got a little over 100,000 viewers on TV, so not bad. Not bad at all. But we're going to switch over to that so I can get Nitro started because I don't want you guys to get spoiled to everything that's happening on it. And then we open up with a pre-show bout. Actually, give me 1 second here. I just noticed. I didn't really fix it. Sorry, I thought I had that lined up right, and then turns out it wasn't. Anyway, pre-show bout in which Christopher Daniels defeats Chris Kanyon. The Battle of the Chris's. It's 7-16 by pinfall, the Death Valley Driver. 35 rating for the match. 32 for both men. Just a nice little pre-show bout to get them in a match with each other. Daniels getting the victory. Kind of goes from there. Our other pre-show bout actually features 3 more women making their WCW debut. Now that I can actually show you guys these pre-show bouts that I've been hiding for the last couple months. 3 women making their WCW debut. And it features Takako Inoue. I'm going to mess up names. I apologize ahead of time. Defeating Aja Kong and Megumi Kudo in a triple threat match when Inoue pinned Kudo with a Huracan. So in 7:46 there. 36 rating for the match. Not bad. Not too bad at all. Aja Kong with a 36. Megumi with a 38. Takako with a 27. And pretty decent ratings from, actually, Aja Kong had a great rating for a Monster Heel gimmick, so that's really cool, but pretty good ratings overall there. Which one was it? I think it was Takako, who was just designated as like a young up-and-comer, like someone whose star was on the rise or something like that, or no, was it? It was one of the two. Yeah, because one of them just won the Young Wrestler of the Year award or something like that. So I was like, well, of course we got to start building up our WCW Women's Division a little bit. So decided to bring them in, kind of see where things go from here with them. I like Megumi Kudo's 38 rating, though. That's actually pretty good. She's a 27-year-old, I think, at this time. So she could have a pretty decent future. I mean, she's pulling on better ratings than Aja Kong, which is kind of saying something, because Aja Kong is kind of a big deal in 90s women's wrestling. So for her to pull off better performance than her is pretty good. But yeah, so nice little match here. You know, potentially see this match a year or so from now on Nitro. Kind of it as a featured match in the women's division, but for now you see the pre-show out, kind of go from there. It's going to take a little bit to build up the women's division, obviously, because we have Medusa, and then we have Bull Nakano, and then everybody else cannot do a in-ring performance of over 40 or over. So it's going to be interesting to see how long it's going to have to take to build them up a little bit before we could even feature them on Nitro. They may get pay-per-view match here and there. In fact, I have at least one women's match planned for Clash of Champions, so it'll be it might be a couple of the minor events, so to speak, the ones that aren't as prestigious as some of the bigger ones, and then a lot of Saturday night, like a lot of their Saturday nights will have some matches with them and pre-show Nitro and all that stuff. But yeah, enough explained about that. We are 11 and a half minutes into the video, and I have not gotten into the main show yet, so let's continue on. We open up Nitro with the Steiners and Steve Austin being interviewed by Gene Okerlund. They talk about the Horsemen. The Steiners talk about how they were looking forward to winning the WCW World Tag Team titles last week, and then they're not blaming Austin for it, but because of what happened at Starrcade, they were unable to have that title match. However, they are still looking forward to getting that title match as soon as Brian Pillman is fully recovered from his injuries and is back in the ring. But they do thank Austin for coming out to help them out last week. And Austin kind of says that he wasn't really out there to help out the Steiners necessarily as much as he just wanted to take it to the Horsemen. He says that his business with Pillman is done, but he had to deal with Flair and Anderson and Benoit getting their nose in his business during that whole time that he was feuding with Pillman, and so he wants to make sure that he evens out any odds like that so that way they don't have to other people don't have to deal with what they had to, and he wants to get a little bit of revenge on them, especially with a little bit of that stare down that him and Flair had last week. He wants to kind of prove that he can go up to the next level. He heard Sting say his name over about getting a shot at the world title, and he would love a shot at the world title, but he feels like he needs to really prove himself, and he knows that the best way to prove himself at this point would be to really show up against some in the ring with Ric Flair and really show that he can beat Ric Flair and really earn that shot that way. So kind of a little bit of a humbling version of Austin there, but yeah. So and then they kind of end their promo by actually issuing a challenge for next week. They say that they know that Pillman's still out with his injury, whatever his injury is at this point, but that they will gladly issue a six-man tag challenge for next week, featuring the Steiners and Steve Austin taking on the other three members of the Horsemen who are still around, that being obviously Chris Benoit, Arn Anderson, and Ric Flair. So the challenge has been issued. We will have to see if it gets accepted by the Horsemen and kind of go from there. 76 rating for the segment, pretty good stuff. A lot of green here, which is always really good to see. Move on from that to a television title match, which only gets a 62 rating because there is a lack of psychology. Kind of makes sense, I guess, to be fair with who's in it. But in good heat, decent wrestling, Johnny B. Bad defeats the Barbarian at 637 by pinfall to shooting star press after Stevie Ray ran in and attacked Barbarian. Bad makes defense number 4 of the television title. 62 rating there, 67 from Bad, 53 from Barbarian. Gained heat for the Faces of Fear versus Harlem Heat storyline. Pretty decent match there. Kind of interesting that I kind of unintentionally did this. I didn't realize it until after I started getting ready to run the show this week that the last 2 weeks in a row I've had TV title matches, and they've both been used to advance other stories going on. So that's an interesting thing, but yeah, Johnny Bad getting another title defense, and kind of going from there. But if you think that the Stevie Ray and Barbarian interaction is done with that, you would be sadly mistaken, because after the match, both teams just start brawling. Barbarian and Stevie Ray are brawling. Booker T comes out to try to help out his brother, and then Ming comes out, and the four men just start brawling all over the place with security trying to break them up. So clearly the issues are not done between these two teams. We'll have to see when it comes to an end in the near future. I apologize, there's a noisy car going by outside, but yeah. 40,871 people in the Boutwell Auditorium cheering on this big old brawl happening here. After that, we get a promo backstage where Piper's in his office and the Blue Bloods come in demanding to be in the main event here on Nitro. They said that they have more than earned their chance to be in the main event, to main event of Nitro. They said that they have dealt with all of Piper's bullshit for so long now, and that they deserve to have that opportunity. They deserve to main event a Monday Nitro. And Piper says, you know what? I gotta give you guys credit. You've been taking all of this, you've been dealing with all this stuff from me for weeks now, and you're still coming up, still budging into my office, even though I don't want you to. You're still breaking into my office, and you're still demanding things from me, even though, you really shouldn't be, because that's the fastest way to get your ass right in the pine, so to speak, as is what Piper says. But he says, but you know what? I gotta give you guys a little credit. I gotta give you guys a little respect with this move. So I will tell you what, you will have your match tonight. In the main event, it will be the Blue Bloods taking on two people that you will later find out. So they don't get to find out who their opponents are quite yet, but they get to find out that they're going to be taking on two people in the main event. So there's that. 70 rating for that segment. And we move on from there. After that, we get a promo from Sting. Oof. This promo did not do that well, but that's because of Big Brother Rogers underperforming. Sting has a promo where he is talking, he's kind of continuing his talk from last week about how he's really seen some people step up since he announced, issuing that open challenge for the world title, and he's really heard some people say some things, and he's really seen some people step up, and he, he's taken a lot of it under consideration. He's even considered having a world title match next week on Nitro against somebody that he has in mind, and when he's getting ready to kind of reveal who that is, that's when Big Brother Rogers comes out and says that that he knows that Sting is about to announce his name, but he doesn't want to have his world title match on a random episode of Nitro. He wants to have his title match at Clash of Champions, where a lot more people will be paying attention to watch Big Brother Rogers win the world title. And Sting was like, well, I really wasn't about to announce you being, getting that title match, but I tell you what, I'll think about it. I'll think about your challenge. So possibly a title match for Clash of Champions. We don't know for sure yet. Sting says he's going to think about it, but Big Brother Rogers kind of wanting to call his shot and make it known that he wants to challenge for the world title. So there's that. After that, we get Diamond Dallas Page coming out with his quote-unquote United States Championship Open Challenge match. And he defeats Conan in 9:16 by pinfall, the discus lariat. 66 rating for the match, 61 from Diamond Dallas Page, 46 from Conan. I don't know why DDP did so low. I mean, he hasn't really ever been, well, I don't know. Normally he's not quite that low, but sure, why not? 66 rating as Diamond Dallas Page apparently retains the United States Championship. I don't know what for sure about that. I want to kind of check this really quick just to see. He's not really, weird. Maybe he's just had a little bit of an off night. Anyway, so he apparently retains his U.S. title, even though it's not his U.S. title, it's Eddie Guerrero's. Speaking of Eddie Guerrero, Conan gets hit from behind with the title belt by Paige, and Paige goes to celebrate with the title until Eddie comes running out, and Paige bails out through the crowd yet again. So Paige still running away from Eddie Guerrero, who is the rightful WCW United States champion, even if he doesn't currently have possession of the championship. As Eddie kind of tends to Conan a little bit. You know, Conan and Eddie kind of had their connections from their time in Mexico, and so he's kind of helping him out, but he's still kind of keeping an eye on Paige, kind of staring him down as he goes through the crowd. 72 rating for the segment there. After that, we get Cactus Jack with a promo. He says that he would love to be considered to get an opportunity for the world title. He says that he's never really asked for a world title match here in WCW, but that he's come out week after week and just gone out there and just done whatever he was supposed to. If he was supposed to fight some man set on destruction, he went out and did it. If he was supposed to fight some other guy who used to be an earthquake and a shark and whatever else he was called, then he went on and did it. If he was supposed to fight whoever he was supposed to fight, he went on and did it, because he's Cactus Jack. He likes to go out there and prove that he's the toughest in this business, and that he's continuously going to prove that he is essentially just one of the toughest professional wrestlers in this business. And Okerlund kind of asked him about the issue with Paul Orndorff last week, and Cactus says that he has no idea why Orndorff kind of seems to want a piece of Cactus Jack. He seems to have a problem with him, but just like he's done with so many others in the past, he will give it his all. He will fight Paul Orndorff with everything he's got. He will prove why he is the toughest son of a bitch in this business. So kind of making his intentions for the world title clear, while also making it clear that if Paul Orndorff has a problem with him, then he will gladly deal with whatever Paul Orndorff's problem is. So nice little promo here from Cactus. Gets an 80 rating. Good stuff there. After that, we get an extremely short match in which the Giant essentially just squashes this newcomer known as Jesse James Armstrong. I probably should have looked for one without the cowboy hat, because he's not playing a cowboy character here, but although I guess he is a fun babyface character, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Jesse James Armstrong, of course, being the future Road Dogg, is now in WCW. I have a potential plan for him, and it kind of got teased a little bit with his entrance over, where the commentators actually mentioned that he is the brother of Scott and Steve Armstrong, who is currently a tag team in WCW. So kind of get mentioned that he's, clearly brothers with that team there. I have a little bit of a plan for him, but I figured he's not going to be moved up the ladder too much, especially anytime soon. So let's have him debut by just getting squashed by the Giant, essentially. Yeah, so he makes his debut and gets squashed by the Giant. 56 rating for the match, despite Giant's 80 performance and Jesse James Armstrong's 45 performance. It still only got a 56. I'm not sure what's going on with my matches tonight. My matches are not doing too hot. That was penalized for inconsistency. It might have been because of the fact that it was an under 5-minute match, but still expected a little bit better rating than that. Oh well. 56 rating is Giant basically just squashes Jesse James Armstrong. After the match, Taskmaster warns Sting that if Sting was smart, he would make sure he did everything possible to keep the Giant from ever getting a shot at the world title, because if it ends up being Sting versus Giant for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, then Sting will find himself in a hospital bed and Giant will find himself with the WCW World title. So kind of making some strong worded threats towards Sting. 68 rating for the segment. Then we move on to the Horseman promo that is in response to the Steiners and Steve Austin's promo early in the night. Gets a 76 rating. Good stuff there. Essentially, Flair is still going on about wanting to get his rematch for the world title, but he says that if he can't have that next week, then he will gladly take it to the Steiner brothers and this young kid who thinks that he's some great superstar in Steve Austin. So the challenge gets officially accepted. It will be the Horsemen taking on the Steiners and Steve Austin next week on Nitro, and what's going to be a big-time 6-man tag match. And about that, fantastic heat and good wrestling. This was actually pay-per-view worthy. Jesus, I probably should have. Honestly, I probably should have put this as the main event. I had a different plan in mind, but I should have put this as the main event probably. But anyway, Barry Windham defeats Vader in 10:03 by pinfall. The Flying Larry is 77 rating for the match, 71 for both men. Gained heat for the storyline going on. Great back and forth match between the two, in which Vader ends up taking the L. Kind of surprising, seeing as how just a couple weeks ago he was in the world title match at Starrcade, but it has some purpose behind it. Storyline, it has some purpose behind it. So I had Vader take the L, but trust me, he's gonna be just fine. Don't worry. But yeah, 77 rating for the match. Good stuff there as Barry Windham is able to get the victory here. Kendall was at ringside, as was Bam Bam. Neither one of the two really got, like, the two on the outside. At times would start to get kind of at times Bam Bam would start to stalk Kendall Windham on the outside, only for the referee to yell at him to go back to his corner, kind of thing. So the referee did a pretty decent job keeping them apart on this night, or for this match. So we'll have to see what this means heading forward. After that, we get a Savage promo. It gets a 91 rating. He is still kind of seemingly upset about his recent struggles. I apologize if I'm flying through this kind of quickly. It turns out my mouth is starting to bother me a little bit after all. But Savage has a promo where he's kind of still upset about his recent struggles. Still upset about getting these losses on bigger stages recently, and saying he's still trying to figure out what he has to do to get things turned back around, because he still plans to become the WCW World Heavyweight Champion again in the near future, and kind of do what it takes to get back on top of the mountain here in WCW. But he's got to figure out what he's missing. He's got to figure out what's missing from his that's keeping him from getting it done on the bigger stages. So kind of an interesting little promo talking about his recent struggles and what he kind of plans to do to try to turn things around. And then in the main event, okay, so this match was still pretty good in the main event too. In the main event itself, a 76 rated matchup, the Blue Bloods actually defeat somebody that they get randomly put in the ring with, as they defeat Dustin Rhodes and Ron Simmons in 9:47 when Regal pinned Dustin Rhodes with an exploder suplex. During the match, VK Wall Street came out and distracted Ron Simmons. There was an issue. I didn't touch on it then, and I kind of forgot to. There was an issue on Saturday night where Simmons was having a promo and VK Wall Street interrupted him, and kind of rambled off something about Simmons not paying his taxes, essentially. He's kind of playing a watered-down version of IRS in WCW, so that's what is kind of running with this here. But he clearly has some issues with Ron Simmons, and it becomes apparent when he distracts Ron Simmons during this matchup, which leads to Ron Simmons and Dustin Rhodes getting defeated by the Blue Bloods. So Blue Bloods in the main event of Nitro get a victory. Kind of impressive there against two pretty big names. They're not top tier, but they're still stars here in WCW, so it's kind of a big deal for them to get the victory there. I mean, in fact, Ron Simmons is the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, so I mean, it's still a pretty big deal there. 76 rating for the match, though. 67 from Eden, 79 from Regal, 71 from Simmons, who's off his game, and 68 from Dustin Rhodes. All sorts of green there. Good stuff there. And that's how we end Nitro, which gets a 79 this week. Nice. Pretty good stuff there. Definitely the last part of that show saved the show. Not that there wasn't some good stuff earlier on. I mean, you see it, there was still some pretty good promos throughout the show, but those last four, the last couple of segments and the last couple of matches definitely helped bring that show rating up, especially with those matches, because the previous matches, the highest rating was a 66, and then we busted out a 77 and a 76 to end the show, so definitely helped save the show. But pretty good show overall, as we are building to Clash of Champions now. We have at least a challenge thrown out there for Sting. We'll have to see if Sting accepts it. Clearly, Diamond Dallas Page and Eddie Guerrero still have some issues going on. We'll have to see if Eddie can ever get his title back. The Blue Bloods getting the job done in the main event. We'll have to see if, maybe Piper finally starts showing them a little bit more respect around here in WCW. We'll have to see if Randy Savage can bounce back from his recent struggles. Well, and of course, we've got that big 6-man tag match next week, the Horsemen and taking on the Steiners and Steve Austin. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. But that is going to do it for us today. Thank you for watching. Definitely appreciate it. And we will catch you guys. Actually, we will not catch you guys quite yet. We will not be ending it right this second because I want to do a better job of showing you the ratings of Raw versus Nitro. Even if we are losing right now, I still want to do a better job of showing you that. So I'm going to let the game load really quick on that. Next week, of course, like I said, you'll see that 6-man tag match. You'll also hopefully see a world title match featuring Sting. We don't know who his opponent is going to be quite yet, but it will be something. And we'll be seeing some continuation of some other stuff. On top of that, for those who also watch the TNA series, you will be seeing at least one episode of TNA this week, possibly 2. We'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah, end the show here by showing you this, where Raw got an 83 rating, so a lot closer to us this week. And about 380,000 more viewers. Like I said, once we get those new TV deals in a couple months, we'll definitely be probably close to, if not beating them on a consistent basis viewership wise. But that rating thing, I don't know what happened with their show, the way it dropped down to an 83 rating this week, but that's pretty big deal. They're not getting these crazy high 90s anymore, so we'll take it. We will take it. But that is going to do it for us today. Thank you for watching. Definitely appreciate it. And we will catch you guys all next time.